Matola. Guerrero.
Here.
Leeper. Here. Oakley.
Here.
Staub.
Here.
Stahl.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Okay. And Mr. Phil, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So at this point, do you have any specific visitors on tab?
no one contacted the unit office.
Okay. And then we need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Leonard Williams. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mike Staub, call roll, please.
Guerrero.
Yes.
Leeper. Yes. Oakley.
Yes.
Staub.
Yes.
Stahl.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Okay. Eye of the storm.
I believe out there in the hallway we have Miss England and a good portion of the middle school girls softball team. And we wanted to recognize them on an outstanding season this evening. And I don't know if you've met her assistant, Coach Bill Rentmeister.
See everybody?
Miss England, could you mind telling us a little bit about the season and the girls and?
We went 13-4 this year. We won regionals, which is the first time softball has won regionals in school history. So it's a big thing. I only have 7th and 6th graders, so I don't have any 8th graders. So this team is coming right back next year, so we should have a good season next year. I'm really excited. They're really excited. Probably they already missed softball, right?
Yes.
I told them to say that. No, they're good. I don't know. We had a really good season. Lots of ups and downs going from our season starts at the end of July, the last week of July. So that's all I have is softball. And then school starts. And then we have to balance academics and school. So there's a big transition that we have there. But they do really well for such a short season. We knock it out. And they definitely took care of business this year. So I'm really lucky and then excited to see what happens next year. Okay. Should I announce them? No. All you have to do is leave. Okay. 7th grader, Rebecca Chumley. Sorry. Rebecca Moxley. Sorry. I know their names. Jordan Kloss, McKenna Ford, Faith Bowie, Reese Patton, JV Hamilton, Grace Belair, Delaney Chumley, Savannah Ramsey. We are missing 10 girls, so we had 19 this year. We kept everybody that showed up to tryouts, and that's what I would like to do every year. Hopefully keep as many as we can. The more softball players we have, the better our program will get, which is something I want to do is build up that program so we do have winning seasons every year. Everybody likes to win, right?
Yeah.
But also get better at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Yes. Thank you guys. We appreciate everything that you've done, all the support that you guys have gave us. Letting them out of school early when we have bus times. I know that's a big inconvenience, but we appreciate it. They enjoy it.
Yes.
You know, but we appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
We'll move on to superintendent's report.
First off, we have the science lab update, and I wanted to let everybody know that the actual framing for the science lab has started. It's starting to actually look like something other than a great big huge open room, and I think we're pretty much on schedule. We're a little bit behind on the drywall, but there was some flex time built in there in the overall plan. So I think overall that we're pretty much on pace. The windows have obviously set us back a little bit. We're waiting on some galvanized steel to come in to go over the top of the headers and the windows, but that should be in any time. We did have a couple issues that I really feel like I need to point out to the board because we had some people here in the building kind of step up. And on September 29th, it was a Thursday, Bruce came down and they had just had a meeting up there, and John Co. had basically stated that they were done with the demo of the plaster, and Bruce came down to me and said that there was still a lot of loose plaster up there, and so I went up there, and sure enough, there were several places where the plaster was so loose that you could pull it off, and we're like, why was that not demoed? Well, that wasn't included in the bid, and we were just going to frame up to it and around it, and I wasn't happy with it, Bruce wasn't happy with it, and John Co. had already released their demo guy and basically told us, well, we're not sure when we'll be able to get him back in. And that wasn't part of the bid. And again, I don't know how plaster removal, you pick out a certain amount of square footage of plaster that you're going to remove. To me, when you remove plaster, you remove plaster.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't start in a section of my house and leave that and frame around it. So kind of looked at Bruce and said, what are we going to do? And he called Oakley Containers, and they brought out a container, and we started, him and Jason started demoing that Thursday afternoon. Iowa World closed the school, had Randy come over. We continued the demo on Friday. Took about half the morning. We ended up taking, I believe, almost 7 tons of plaster out of that classroom. So we got that off when we got it out there. The next issue was the fact that when they put the island in for the Family and Consumer Science Lab, there was an island on the back half, and when they put the plumbing in, they just decided that they would cut through the 2x12 floor joist, which is a no-no, and that with the additional weight of the island and the fact that they cut a joist basically in half, that caused some weakening of the other joist, so we ended up having to go in and we cut out about a 12 by 22 section of the floor, and we came in and sistered the joists that were there with brand new 2 by 12 by 20s, nailed those all, and then came back and drilled and bolted those all together, which again, that was something that was not included in the bid. And I'm not sure why. I guess part of it was maybe because of the position of that island, and it was hard to tell the condition of the floor. And without being able to get under the floor, you really couldn't tell. And so the architects came up with a plan with, sistering those joists and then bolting those together. And then we patched the floor. So the floor is pretty sturdy. It's in good shape, but Bruce, again, without him saying, no, this doesn't look right, this isn't right, and coming down and getting me, and they probably would have framed right around it and continued on. So I would just like to thank Bruce and Jason and Randy. That's hard work. It would have been very easy for them to say, go ahead and frame. But they chose not to do that. And Steve Peters came in. He had some community service to do, our senior. He came in and worked with us that day as well, and he did a really nice job and put forth a lot of effort. So over the course of Friday, and then we worked all day Saturday, we were able to get everything kind of in place, and they were able to continue on Monday and keep working. So we all kind of pitched in and kept the project on pace. And so thank you so much to those guys. And I mentioned it before, it's such a nice feeling when you walk through the door here that if you have something that needs to get done, there are people around that are going to help and do it. And I think these guys would attest for that as well, that if you need something done, Bruce, Randy, Jason, they're always there. So Thank you so much.
Thanks to you, because there's not every administrator and every superintendent around rolling sleeves and get dirty, so.
Agreed.
I enjoyed it, really.
Where was BLDD in all this? Aren't they supposed to be the general?
They are, well, they kind of oversee the general contractor, which is Johnco. And again, they had really, BLDD's first fix for the floor was to put leveler on it. Well, that would have weighed, I can't even imagine how much that would have weighed to do that. And then you're already putting that on a floor that's not solid, just wouldn't have worked. And again, unless you were underneath the floor and you could have seen underneath the island that was there. The floor I can understand a little bit, but I don't understand why the plaster wasn't. And I know, I talked to Joe Marco's kind of the head construction guy on it, and he said, well, it just wasn't included in there. So I don't understand it, but
And they were off by that much, 7 tons.
7 tons, we removed, that they were just gonna frame around. And like I said, there was one section, it's probably a 10 by, I don't know, 12-foot high section that literally Bruce grabbed and pulled it down. So it's not safe for the workers that are framing that. And so Johnco would have come back out to do it, but who knows when they had one guy doing demo for that whole room. And who knows when he had already been sent to another job and they didn't know when he would be able to get back.
And that would have come out of contingency at that point, right?
Correct.
Well, we're paying our employees, so I mean, that's just cost. They could have been off working on something else. Instead, they're up there having to finish somebody else's work.
Well,
It wasn't
that-
part of the bid.
That's true. It was not part of the bid. It will come out of contingencies. Their pay on that Saturday will come out of the contingency money.
You know, BLDD's been architect for years and years, and I mean, we've had to talk to them, make sure stuff like that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
So,
I think it happens a lot. I don't think this is the only place. I think there's almost, in what I do every day for business, there's everything, you miss something, somebody misses something, but it doesn't make it any better, I know, but I think that contingency money that they set there is to kind of cover their hide in those situations, so.
Well, without any other unforeseen issues, I think we should be okay with that, but the windows, like I mentioned, was something that was gonna cost an additional amount as well, so. But again, I think we saved some money off the contingency by having our own workers do it. And again, that goes to our workers and people that live in our community too, so.
And kept us on schedule.
Any other questions on the science lab?
So we are on schedule.
A little bit behind. I know the schedule says that we should be hanging drywall, and we're getting really close to that. Again, the windows, we're waiting on some galvanized steel to get back. They have to put the headers in, and that galvanized plate goes on top of the headers underneath the lintels that were starting to rust. So we're waiting on that, but the framing, other than around the window areas, and is pretty much done. The walls in, the island that will have that will house all of the lab stations, that's been started. The plumbing, a lot of electrical. So there's room in the schedule for stuff like this. So they say they're on schedule.
Here's hoping.
I'm excited. I'm excited about getting that space open and what it's going to look like, and how our kids are going to have such a nice area to have. Next I have was the tax, 2016 tax levy. And I printed you off, or I sent you a form that looked at the 2016 levy compared to last year's levy. And this year, in the education fund, we're going to levy $3,240,786. In the operation maintenance, $495,120. Transportation, $180,044. Working cash, again, that is one of our nickel funds. And with the sale of the The working cash bond, we decided to put some of that, or take some of that tax money back and abate that, kind of relieve some of the pressure off the taxpayers. So only $10,000 in working cash, $82,000 in IMRF, $155,000 in Social Security, $194,000, that's $155,000, $194,000 in tort, $45,011 in health, life, safety, $45,011 in the lease fund, and $36,009 in special education. The total 16 levy is $4,482,981, which was an increase of approximately 3.82%. And when you do the levy from one year to the next, you try to stay under that 5%, so we do not have to have a special hearing to do this. If you look at the rates on the outside, the overall rate for this year looks like it's down possibly a couple cents compared to last year. So again, I want to emphasize that when we levy money, we're not raising taxes, we're just asking for a certain amount of money. And whether that raises the taxes or not is based upon the value of the district, the property in the district. So if the EAV comes in at roughly 90 million, which is a 4% growth from last year's EAV, those are the tax rates that should follow. If the EAV comes in higher than that, the tax rate will go down. If our EAV comes in lower than that, then our tax rate will go up over this 5.16.
Now, 4 of these funds are cap funds, correct?
Well, the education fund is capped at 3.6. Then health, life, safety is a nickel fund, lease is a nickel fund, working cash is a nickel fund, and I believe transportation is capped at, I'm sorry, special ed I think is capped at 4. So,
And we're at the cap on the education,
yes,
so we're projected to deficit spend in the education fund this year? in the
as of
budget?
right now, yes.
So this money isn't gonna cover our costs this year, including what we get from the state.
As of right now in the budget, no.
So in order to raise this rate, to gather more taxes to cover the costs that aren't being covered this year, what would we have to do?
We'd have to pass a referendum to increase the ed fund.
Okay.
But the projections in the ed fund, again, I would, we'll have a better idea in May when we do the amended budget. I'm hoping that, again, that I estimated our money coming in from the state a little bit lower than what we'll actually receive.
Did we have to deficit spend in the education fund last year?
Yes. So later on in the meeting, I'll ask that you adopt the resolution of the tentative tax levy for 2016 payable in 2017. And then the last item that I have, we had the Family Read Night, the first ever district-wide Family Read Night here at the high school. It had a kind of a campfire Wild West theme. But overall, I thought it went very well. I think we had 360, is that?
380 some total with students and parents, and it was 407 total adults and children.
Well, that's pretty darn good, I think.
You cook good broths.
Thank you. Glad I can do something. But I really, without thanking Kylie and Kim Quinlan, they were kind of spearheaded that, and then we had so many volunteers. I think all of the staff members that are here tonight were there helping out. We also had some parents helping out as well, and some administrators there to help out too. So I really thought it was a good evening. I think everybody had a lot of fun. And we're wanting to do this again next year district-wide, and I think they have some ideas already of what they would like to do, and try to make it a little bit bigger and better. So, but I thought it went great. It was nice to have everybody in. Great turnout. it for superintendent's review.
Good for superintendent, so we move on to old business.
Yes. Last time we tabled the bus garage roof, you wanted me to check back with Muehlbach Roofing and see if they would add 30-pound felt paper to the bid and add the roof vents. And they said they would do that for an additional $100, which I thought was a pretty good deal. And so I think he really wanted our business. He gave us a good bid overall to begin with. So I will recommend that we let Muehlbach Roofing do our bus barn roof.
Okay. And he's on target to do it yet this year.
Yeah, I'll call him tomorrow and we'll get on the schedule. He seemed to think we could get it done here before the weather turned bad.
All right, so then we need a motion to approve Muehlbach Roofing to replace the roof on the bus barn for $3,595.
Motion.
Motion made by Michael Oakley, is there a second?
Second.
By Brad Santola, call roll please.
Leeper, yes. Oakley,
Yes.
Staub,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Santola,
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes. And then, secondly, we have the second reading of the goals of finance and facilities. I gave you guys all a copy. Everything highlighted in yellow is some things that ISB had sent back and wanted further clarification on. Basically, we had improved facilities guided by the 10-year safety survey through the use of the 1% county sales tax monies. And in no particular order, they are to improve outdoor lighting at all campuses, install air conditioning in all buildings, and install new windows beginning at SVEE. Target dates, we put August 2019. Obviously, these are our goals. I want to point that out. We have to obtain bids. We have to see if this is feasible. This is a working document. It could change in the future, but this is a goal that the 3 goals we would like to work towards in facilities. And finances, the one thing that we added was pursue the creation and launch of an educational foundation in the district. We've looked around and seen almost every district surrounding us and a lot throughout the state have foundations that raise money through alumni, different kinds of things too. Some of them will go through classroom grants, some of them are large projects that they'll raise money for. So just wanting to set that as a goal to get something like that started here in the future. And then prioritize expenditures to effectively meet district goals. We added some sub-goals, also again suggested by IASB. Support the implementation of academic programs that complement and enhance learning, specifically reading and spelling by August 2018. As most of you know, we have a new math program that began, I believe, last year. So the spelling and reading curriculum would then fall into place with that. And then sub-goal 2, hire highly qualified administrators, faculty, and staff. The addition is and retain them with the support of a structured mentor program and competitive pay. One other thing, that was the changes from the first reading. If you look back at community and district relations, we had one of the things Michael had suggested, offering active military with ID, free entrance into our sporting events like we do seniors. They want a data source for that. I have down that we would look at that annually at the end of the school year. So I'm kind of leaving that here. How do we monitor that? How do we report back that that's being done, working, that kind of thing? I guess before we do the final in November, we'll have to come up with some type of idea of how that can be tracked or done. And then on the agenda then for November, we would put to approve these goals and start the implementation. Okay?
So I have the pricing for the newsletter.
Oh,
Do you want to know
I
that?
didn't highlight, yes, that was also in community and district relations. We talked about doing a newsletter for those in the community that don't obtain the Sentinel through the school or their own subscription. So we talked about a possible biannual newsletter.
Yeah, and so I contacted IASB, and as a member school district, they have a print services department, and the lady wrote to me, as long as you use our print services, there's no cost for typesetting and design. So we basically send them, like when we're gonna do the goals or whatever else we want in it, the information, pictures, anything, and they will design it, set it up for us. We supply the text and any photos, logos for layout. At that time, their print service will work through it with us. We'll go through 2 rounds of electronic proofs, and then once they get the final proof, they'll print for us. And so I gave them a number based on when I was running for school board and I did a mailer throughout the whole district. I was about 2,200 pieces, so I just gave them 2,300. To design, print, and fold 2,300 pieces, she says approximately $640, which I can't believe.
Yeah.
They'll design it and do everything for us. $640, and then the shipping cost or the mailing cost. They cannot do that for us. I think the most economical way is to do through the U.S. Postal Service. They have the Every Door Direct, where you choose your zip code and then your zones in your zip code, so we can look at the district map, choose the areas to include everybody in our district. The postage rate for that is 17.5 cents per piece, 17.6 cents per piece. So 2,300 piece mailing at that cost would be just over $400 for your postage. So with all these, you could do it, yeah, around $1,100.
So I guess the question then would be, is it something that we feel should be done biannually in January and June to, end the semesters and give updates? Or is it something that you feel can be done annually at the end of the school year to kind of? Do you want to think about that one? Anybody have any?
I like the biannual. I mean, it's a lot, I think, to try to condense a whole year and keep your 2 editions a little more current. So
Okay.
we can certainly do the first one and see how it
it's
goes over.
received.
Mhm.
Okay. So we'll leave a monitor date for January and July. Okay, sorry, I almost skipped over. And then, next on is the attendance centers vote. I think we had,
I just kind of segue into it. We had a meeting in September. We heard from a lot of people on both sides. It seemed like there were a lot of advantages that some of the teachers brought forward and some of the administration brought forward. There were also some disadvantages, some of those things that, like transportation, that we're trying to work on. As far as where we are with the transportation software, we are in the middle of training right now, and we do have the maps loaded onto the software. We're about ready to upload the students, which we can start working with live data and start actually developing routes and that sort of thing. So we talked a little bit last month with my transportation report. We addressed the issues, and I think there was some misinformation out there about how long our bus trips are currently, and I truly believe that we can stay at that or under, and obviously that would be a goal. But as far as I put in my recommendations to you, Leonard talked last meeting about the possibility of putting the vote back that would actually start. I put 17-18 school year, which was not accurate in my recommendations to you. It would actually be the 18-19 school year, so it would not be implemented next fall, but it would be held off a year. And I think logistically, that would obviously give much more time for planning, for transportation, for moving of classrooms and that sort of thing. So now basically the decision is whether you want to go through with it.
okay. And I think Leonard's point was the potential, we have 2 retirements coming at the end of next school year, so potentially waiting for implementation the following school year so that we're moving fewer people, possibly twice.
Right.
Which I can't say, I mean, I guess I want to put out there, even if this does pass and we do wait a year, there's potentially going to be new moves next year anyway, because there was moves this year. And we had teachers that had to go from fourth to third and that kind of thing. So I'm not saying no one will be moved. I want to make sure that's out there
But the
because,
cost savings happens.
right,
With the 18, 19.
right, and with the retirement. So I guess, are there any other comments on thoughts, administration? Do you have any thoughts on putting, I know you guys are also looking at changing your grading in the elementary schools. So maybe 2 changes all at once is a bit much for next year. I just kind of want to,
Well, the changes that we talked about making wouldn't happen next year anyway. We'd make some of the changes next year. It would be a work in progress over the next 7 years or so. It's going to be a long process, just not something that we can just do in 1 year. I mean, that's not just me talking, that's anybody who's implemented the things that we want to implement have gone through the same thing, take several years, so. But, right, I mean, that's definitely some change coming up, too.
I think it would ease some minds to have it not take place for another year.
and I can see the benefit, you know, as I've thought about it since Leonard, I see the benefit of the moves. I also see benefit in having 2 seasoned teachers on hand and more hands on deck to help through the transition. So I've kind of like flip-flopped in my mind, if it were to happen, what would be the best, you know, thing. But I think if everyone's kind of on board, we just kind of need to know how to make our motion and how to make it.
We talked it over today. We spent a lot of time in our staff meeting talking about this. And I just brought it up to them again because I didn't want to leave, you know, a stone unturned. And I basically just looked at all of the staff in the face and asked, is this the right thing to recommend? And everybody agreed with it, and just the educational advantages we see are there. And that doesn't mean that the disadvantages aren't credible, they are. But I mean, when you look at the staff in the face and they all tell you, despite what we're going to go through or what we're going to have to deal with, this is the right thing for our kids, that was pretty compelling to me.
Any comments from the board regarding starting with next year or the following to put in the motion?
I started an online petition. I'm against this. I have a child that will be affected, like some of you. I also handed out petitions. I'd just like it in the minutes that I received 128 signatures on my online petition, not wanting to go with the attendance centers from the community, from people that live here. And I also have another 37 signatures. There's some duplicates. I'd like it in the minutes that I feel that I have roughly 150 to 160 signatures against the attendance centers.
Of people that vote and live in this district.
Correct.
So when I
The
look at
list
this
is right in front of
list and
me.
I see people from out of state, you took those out of your count?
No.
No? So,
I said there's some duplicates and such. I said there's roughly, I'd say around 150.
Out of those 150, how many are 2 signatures from the same household? You have any idea about that?
There's some. There's also 2 parents, 2 voters, 2 taxpayers. Also, I'd like to go back 3 years ago. One of my correspondences from my previous superintendent that wrote to us when we were having the same issue. I'm providing you with the numbers on the community surveys. They stack up right now through Friday, October 4th. The trend is that the public is in favor of the K through 5 in each town, an option that was not given to the communities at this time. Looks like the public is saying that we need to save money, but we are not ready for the most radical plan, the attendance centers. It would seem to indicate that they believe the K through 5 restructuring plan addresses the budget while not disrupting the education of the children. We didn't give them the second option. It was either take this or leave it.
well, 3 years ago, we were K4, so you're saying at that point, people wanted to go back to K5?
K through 5 at each school.
Right, and we'd already taken 5th district-wide to Illiopolis.
Yes, that was one of the other options.
And how many years since then have we deficit spending in education?
the last, well, just this last year.
And the only way to get more money is to raise the tax rate. It's already the highest in Macon County. So that's probably not gonna get passed by a referendum.
No. And that, I guess my only comment to that would be, we received very few surveys back, of the multiple ones we had out. And we also, it primarily affected only children in Niantic because they were the ones who would be moving. So if Philiopolis said, yeah, that's great, only move Niantic, and Harristown said, no, that's great, just move Niantic, you probably are gonna have more people saying that because it seems like it would affect fewer people.
Yeah, it would also
So-
affect less kids, less families.
I think there are some, from the K-5 concept, I think we would probably, I know band would suffer because it would be very difficult to run a band, a fifth grade band at both facilities without hiring additional staff. To me, that was one of the things that I specifically remember people talking about that they didn't want to lose was that opportunity.
That's one of our best programs.
It's one of our most populated programs, at least here at the high school specifically.
Can I ask you guys, what's your suggestion for the implementation if this would pass? Next year, wait a year? I mean, I hate to put you on the spot, but you got the pulse of the teachers. I mean,
I'd say wait a year. I mean, just because, I think more preparation is better than less preparation.
Okay.
You don't know, like with the contingencies on the science lab, there's things that could come up in front of us, that it makes things go a little longer than you would. So you better, play it safe, better safe than sorry.
Okay.
And you got more time to kind of get your ducks in a row and get people squared away,
The other concern I have is if we go with the attendance center plan, what's it going to do to our enrollment? Our enrollment, and I have the numbers, I went back and looked at the report card. When we came together, we had 822. This year, you told me we had 680.
That's right.
We're loss of 140 kids. How many empty classrooms do we have across this district? Because we haven't reduced the size of the
We
buildings.
don't have any at the high school that I know of. I'm not sure about.
Is
the
this
middle
one
school.
utilized through the month?
Well, this is the boardroom now, so no.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the classroom. We used to have them in the library.
I think the decline in enrollment is indicative of all of Macon County and not just Sangamon Valley, just to make sure everyone knows that. No Macon County school has seen a large jump in enrollment, and many have seen losses. I don't think we can foresee the future, I think is the problem. I think we have to look at what we have in front of us and what's being recommended to us as a way to better educate our children, to help improve things for our teachers, and to also look at keeping the district viable in the future, well into the future. So, again, I don't know enrollment-wise if we can peg a number. I don't know how it changes year to year. Last year it was up initially, correct?
The high school has
Last
stayed
year
the same.
it was 718. Year 2014 was 708. 2013, 763. 2012, 782. 2011, 808. 2010, 816. 2009, 827. 2008 was actually our highest year before the housing bubble, and that was 836. 2007 was 832. 2006 was 822. 2005, 822. Right off the district report card.
So what is your point? Because under the current model, it continues to decline.
Under the current model, I feel that if
So-
we go to the attendance centers, you're gonna see more families leave the district, and we're gonna lose more tax base, kids equal money. You gotta have kids that have classrooms.
And I just think that's pure speculation at that point. I mean, that fits your argument, but if you,
I mean,
you've seen a decline, yeah,
I've
that's
seen the
great.
decline. I mean, do you
But,
feel
and it's
that,
been the way it has
do
been
you
for.
feel the economy in Illinois is improving? The job growth is coming?
No, I can't
So
fix
what's your
that.
expectation for next year?
You know what? I don't have a crystal ball. Our job is to provide the best education we can.
Okay, well, his job is to worry about the numbers for next year. What's your projection?
Well, Michael, what would you like us to do to improve
They're gonna be similar to what
numbers?
they are. They're gonna probably be in the mid to upper 600s, I would say.
Have we changed any since the beginning of when that 682 number came out? Do we know? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know where our enrollment is today. I do not know that.
And how much do we receive in state funding per child?
Again, I don't have those figures in front of me, Mike.
Do you have an estimate?
No.
I'll take a guess at this point. You have a guess? Last time I asked you, you told me roughly 5,000.
What does it matter?
5,000 per child. We lost 30 kids. That's 100, well, what's 5,000
You
times
can't figure
30?
it that way.
Why?
That's not the way that it works.
Then explain to me how it works.
Well, the education fund, I don't know if there's anybody in the state of Illinois that can explain to you exactly how it works.
We've had people from state board in here that can't tell exactly how it works, so that's.
You have to look at
So
the
you don't know how it
enrollment,
works
you have
either?
to look at the EAV, you have to look at your free and reduced, you have to look at your, like I said, your enrollment, your EAV, those are the two main things. Yes, you're right. But well, the point that Martha made is that our enrollment has decreased over the period of time where we've not had attendance centers. So do we not do something that we feel is right for our kids because of something that might continue to happen that's already been happening? That's, I don't know.
Well, I was against this for a long time, just because we told people that they maintained grade schools in East Town. And Martha's one that convinced me, and after hearing our educators, I've changed my mind. If it's in the best educational interest of our students, this is what we need to do. But I believe we need to push it out. Plenty of time to implement it. You're sitting there, your curriculum director's telling you that. If we're gonna do it, we do it the 18-19 school year. And if it's the best thing for the kids, it's what we need to do.
Off my free and reduced lecture report I just submitted yesterday, 721 students as of yesterday.
721 right now.
721.
Very good. So it's gonna fluctuate, because, this whole area through here with the changes in unemployment and employment opportunities in this area. It's every district, not just us. And every district is probably sitting and talking about the same things at board meetings as far as fluctuation in enrollment. With that said, I would make a motion to implement attendance centers at the beginning of the 18-19 school year.
I'll second it.
Wait, motion made by Leonard Williams.
Are we gonna I thought we were gonna have some discussion time for the community for that at the last meeting.
I asked for discussion for the board on Leonard's bringing up what he brought up at the end of the meeting that wasn't on the agenda.
Okay.
If there's someone here that has something new, I'm definitely not going to say you can't speak. I think that, we've been over a lot of issues, we've discussed them, but if you have something that you would like to add, is there someone?
I would say something that, you mentioned at the last meeting about financial. This is as much financial as it is education piece.
Not quite as much, but it helps.
We have to
It helps ease it.
definitely-
If we can do something that saves us $150,000 or whatever the number was, I don't really remember the exact number, and that's just icing on the cake to me. But the main thing for me is what we do educationally.
So, if no one has anything to add, I have a motion on the floor from Leonard Williams to implement attendance centers at the beginning of the 2018-19 school year. Are those
Yes.
the correct years? Okay, and a second by Mike Stahl.
So,
Call roll, please.
Centola,
Abstaining based on the motion that should be put to the community. I'm not disagreeing that we shouldn't move forward with attendance centers, but I think it should be a community decision. And we have time, if we're pushing it out for a year, we have time to put it out on our referendum for that, just to see what those numbers are. So I abstain.
I think we've been told that it's not a community, you can't put that out on a referendum for attendance centers.
We can put out surveys.
We did that.
All right, Guerrero,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Oakley,
I'm voting no. I'd like it in the minutes I feel this is one step closer to having to close down a facility. And I also agree with Brad. I feel that we had time that should have been put out to the communities, the taxpayers for a vote. It could have been put on the ballot for November 8th.
I don't think we have room in any facility to shut down a facility.
Yet.
Staub,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not to beat a dead horse, Brad. I was extremely disappointed when we did this last time, because I was dead set against this for a long time. For 13 years, or however many years
Oh,
it's been.
I'm not disagreeing that it shouldn't happen. I don't think we have a choice. Honestly, I don't think we have a choice. When I look at the numbers, I don't see we have a choice. We have to do something.
We got 11% of the surveys back last time, and I think I'm pretty close to dead on that. If you send out surveys, you know, we probably, I don't understand such an important issue, why we get more of those surveys back, but we didn't. And my guess is, I've been through this before on other issues over the years, and you never get back enough surveys to really give you a good feel for the pulse of the community. I don't understand it, but you just don't.
Okay. And then, do you have items in new business?
I do, the motion to adopt the tax levy. We discussed that earlier in the superintendent's report.
So I need a motion to adopt the resolution of tentative tax levy for the 2016 year payable in 2017.
So moved.
Motion made by Martha Leeper. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jeff Stahl. Call roll, please.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Oakley,
Yes.
Staub,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Centola.
Yes.
Who made that motion?
I did.
It was Martha.
Jeff said it.
And then you have your administrator.
Next up, I have a recommendation to approve the administrator salary compensation report. It's something that we have to do annually, as I put in your board packet, and that is then displayed on our website.
Okay. So I need a motion to approve the administrator's salary compensation report as required under PA 96-0349.
So moved.
Motion made by Leonard Williams. Is there a second?
A second?
Martha Leeper. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Okay. And then,
Each year, it's been kind of a tradition that October is the National Principals Day. And I think we have a great group of administrators that are very dedicated. They care about their kids, they care about their staff, and I think they deserve to be recognized. So I'm recommending the approval of a resolution to declare October 2016 as National Principals Month.
motion made by Mike Staub. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mike Oakley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Would you like me to read it?
Yeah, if you would, please.
Okay, be it resolved in honor of the service of all elementary, middle school, and high school principals, and to recognize the importance of their school leadership so that every child has access to a high-quality education and to celebrate their accomplishments, Sangamon Valley CUSD number 9 recognizes the month of October 2016 as National Principals Month. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Did a great job.
And then we need a motion to enter closed session for the reasons stated on the agenda.
I'll move.
Motion made by Mike Staub. Is there a second?
Second.
Mike Oakley, call roll, please.
Staub,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Centola,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Oakley,
Yes.
You have 7:49.
yes. So I need a motion to accept the closed session minutes as read in closed session.
I'll move.
Mike Staub, is there a second?
Second.
Jeff Stahl, Call roll, please.
Centola,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Oakley,
Yes.
Staub,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion to hire Shelby Kepler as an individual aide at SVWE per student IEP.
So moved.
Motion made by Leonard Williams. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Martha Leeper, call roll, please.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Oakley,
Yes.
Staub,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Centola.
Yes.
And, before we adjourn, I wanted to remind everyone about your resolutions, the packet that you got last month. We're going to have to look at that November meeting because one of us who's attending conference is going to have to go into that and vote on the resolutions. So we will discuss that at the November meeting. So at this point,
I have some stuff for discussion.
okay.
First item is, I've talked with you several times, Mr. Meadows. Have we received our 10-year health life savings report?
It has been submitted to ISB as of this week, and I go in, at that point, I'm waiting for one more building, and I believe that it's the Harristown building, that I'm waiting for that report to get submitted to ISB, and then I go in and approve it, and they provide us back with the copies. So I have looked at the high schools and the Iliopolis campus, and there are some items that we're gonna have to address. And I'll bring those to you. Hopefully, I'll have a full report to pass out to you guys in November.
Is it a pretty thick document? I mean, can we get it in our packets, or is there a place online that we can see it?
I don't know if you can go in and, eventually we'll get an electronic copy that we can have here, and we can actually, I don't see a reason why we couldn't put it on our website.
Okay.
But I have to have, there's a few steps that are involved before we'll actually get our hands on that.
Okay.
But, yeah, it was just submitted, the 16th, so what I did Monday.
Document.
No, 17th. Yeah, it's a substantial, it's probably 10, 12 pages
Yeah,
per
but
building.
it's not like a book. It's,
No, no.
Yeah, it's,
Okay. The second item is, where are we coming along on the guttering on the gym side?
Well, the quote that we received, I felt like was too high. I gave it to BLDD, they also felt like it was too high, and they're supposed to be getting back to me with some sheet metal contractors that can come and just fix that. So it's not a standard gutter, it's a thicker metal, and it's something that has to be bent with a brake as opposed to being, rolled out off of a press or something like that.
Okay.
Some of the local gutter contractors, they just don't have the equipment to do that big of metal.
it's gotta be commercial people most time do that stuff.
So they're, along with everything else, they're supposed to be getting me some names that we can get that done.
Has the gym roof been patched and repaired?
The gym roof actually was, I think just last week, was finally patched and fixed. They came out and they started on it, and then they never showed back up. So I called Trimco and said, "Where are you?" And the supervisor was under the impression that it was done, but it was not. Well, I sent him some pictures, and he said, "No, it's not done." So they came out and finished it.
I noticed the cement blocks up on this side on the roof. Is that from,
That was from the initial
Damage.
damage when it was starting to peel back up. They put it up there to hold everything down. When we get an opportunity to not have, it gets pretty slick up there if there's any moisture at all. So if we get a sunny day here in the next couple of days, then I'll have Bruce and Jason take those off there.
okay. I didn't know if we had another issue or not.
No, not yet, but that is something that's gonna have to be addressed.
Okay.
One last thing. We discussed earlier, a few months ago, during registration about centralizing, and you guys talked about moving documents from one building to the other. When the kids move between the buildings, don't their documentation move with them to the, or at least centralized to the high school?
Yeah. But the kicker is there is it happens usually during the school day, which you're allowed to do. It's, if they were to get left overnight in a car, because that gets open pretty late, then that's where they kind of say, don't do it. Because registration gets done at 7, by the time they get everything packed up, 7:30, 8 o'clock, they don't want to go back to the office and.
Can we leave it overnight and locked up in the office and
Yeah.
during the school day, move it to the building?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
I just know, and all the law classes I've taken, and they've always kind of poo-pooed on that idea of
Yeah.
transporting documents, just,
As little as possible.
yes, yes.
I think logistically too, when you know, I know that just doing the high school, the rush that comes in there and to try to fit everybody in one location, I think would be, I don't know if we have space in any one big area. I don't think in August that anybody wants to sit in the gymnasium and do that. To me, that'd be about the only place you'd have to divide up. Even then, I still think you'd have to divide up into,
Well, I mean, we could
Sections.
we could, like you said, we could use different sections, like the high school would be in the gymnasium, middle school, do the library, and then the elementary schools do, get different rooms if you had to.
it's something to think about, but I would certainly want to ask the people that are doing the registration what they felt like. And I understand that it's an inconvenience to have to, if you have 3 kids, to try to go to each building. And I also know that the online didn't work.
I think there's got to be a way that does though, because so many people do online registration, and this is probably a discussion for another time since it wasn't on the agenda, but so many people do online registration. I don't know how, because you said with the free and reduced lunch, that's an issue. I don't know if that's something that gets handed out at a different time to those kids on the first day of school or something, but I'd like to look into that more because, I mean, for somebody to swipe a credit card or put a credit card number in at their desk at work and register all their kids.
I will say from my own kids that we do have online registration, but you still have to go to the building.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, burst in my bubble.
I think the biggest thing is when I brought it back to some of the secretaries, and I know they discussed it, you're in your office, you've got everything you need right there. So, we've got binders, all the transportation information. Carrie has her computer right there. I think it would totally put them out of their element to stick them in the gym or a classroom and, oh gosh, did we remember that? Oh, Valerie, can you run back to Harristown to get it because we don't have that paperwork or we left it on the desk. I think that would definitely be a negative from the secretary's point of view, because they're the ones that actually do the bulk of the work on registration days.
That makes perfect sense.
Anything else? And again, remember your resolutions, please, because we have to discuss it in November. All right, so motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Leonard and then Joe Stahl?
Sure.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.